I was thinking about some stuff the other day and talking to my students at work, and a bunch of high school kids, and we were talking about being rich, right?
Nice.
And all these kids just wanting to be rich. And it kind of got me thinking, well, what's the difference between rich and wealthy? And when I said that to my kids, they're like, "Well, I'm pretty sure it's one and the same. If I'm rich, then I'm wealthy. I'm good to go." A bunch of high school kids, they want the nice stuff. They want the nice cars. And maybe you do too. Maybe you do too.
Yeah,
I know I wouldn't mind having a couple of nice things. But what do you think? Is there a difference between being rich and being wealthy?
absolutely. And the way I look at it,
Yeah.
being rich is making $250,000 a year, for example.
Okay.
I would call that person rich.
Nice.
Most people don't make that amount of money.
Okay. Yep.
But that rich person could be living paycheck to paycheck
True.
because they're spending it all on their big home, their fancy car or cars,
Yeah.
a boat, and they need their paycheck every month just to survive.
So living an expensive life as well.
Exactly. And they're rich so they can live that rich lifestyle.
Right. Until something happens, then all of a sudden that 250 is gone, and now they have to figure out how to live on another thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So rich is the money.
The money that you're making now
Yeah.
is the way I look at it.
Right. I've seen a study like that where it's talking about professional athletes, and about 78% of them go bankrupt because they're so used to spending all that money. They got millions of dollars from their contracts. And then once they retire from their sports, they don't know what to do with it. They don't have any more money coming in. And so they file for bankruptcy. So I agree with you.
Exactly. That making a lot of money is nice, but being smart with your money's even better, no matter how much you're making.
Right, for sure. I mean, I think it's interesting when you're talking about wealth now. Warren Buffett still lives in the same home that he bought way back when, like 1931, I believe.
That's wild.
That he bought for like 31,000 maybe. My numbers are a little bit off here, but he's still living in the same house that he bought many, many, many
Is he
years
just
ago.
too lazy to move into a big mansion? He's like, I don't want to move all my stuff into a huge house.
Right? I
That's
mean, if he's got a
amazing.
piano, nobody wants to move a
Right.
piano.
Exactly. He doesn't live. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
But I think that's the thing, right? Rich people will often live that rich life. Wealthy people live a wealthy life. And you don't have to be wealthy, or you don't have to be rich to be wealthy.
So what do you mean by that? So how? What do you mean by what is wealthy then to you? I guess.
Wealthy, I think, is some of the assets that I have, right? It's my investments that are building and growing. That's the wealth that I have. And we talked a little bit about net worth in a video before, and I think that's part of it. But I think that's the wealth is the money that I keep and
Okay.
how I use that money.
So it's not your income.
Not necessarily.
So could a person making $60,000 a year eventually become wealthy in your mind?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If they're investing, if they're not just doing the 250,000 living paycheck to paycheck, if somebody's making 60,000 and still, if they're in a position to be able to invest, then yeah, they can definitely become wealthy as well.
So is it fair to say wealthy is less obvious because you can't always see it in a person, the way they live and what they wear and what they drive and
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I would think that my opinion, yes, you might be living next door to somebody who is quite wealthy and not know it because it's their investments. You don't necessarily see their investments. They might be driving a normal Honda, Toyota,
just a
some
boring
normal
car.
right?
Very boring. Just gets you from point A to point B.
Yep. I mean,
Oh,
even Jeff Bezos drove his '94 Honda Accord many, many, many years after Amazon.
oh, did he really?
So, yep.
Wow,
So he was building his wealth.
that's nice.
So,
It reminds me of a book, The
okay.
Millionaire Next Door.
Yep.
Highly recommend it. Go to the library and check that out because that book's basically about wealthy people.
Yep.
That you can't tell, like you said, by just looking at them what they're driving or where they live.
Right.
But if you looked at their bank account, their investments, they could be worth several $1 million.
Yeah.
They just don't need to flaunt it, or they don't live a lifestyle that shows it that much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. One more book
One more book.
that you make me think of: The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, one of my top 10 all-time favorite personal finance books.
Mm-hmm.
Also talks about wealth versus being rich. And I highly recommend reading the whole book, but he does delve into that a bit too.
Yep.
Because I think it's an important thing to think about.
Yeah. It's not necessarily about keeping up with the Joneses,
Right.
wearing all the good stuff, doing all the big things, but still living paycheck to paycheck. But what are you doing with your money? How can you make that money grow?
Exactly. I like it.
Just a short one for everybody today. Thanks for coming in, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.